Hello, my dear students. In today's video, we are going to study a concept of international economics. In today's video, I'm going to deal with the concept of international economics, that is nothing but international capital movements. So, it is a very much important concept in international economics, that is international capital movements. So, let's continue. Okay. So, you know what is capital? Capital means not only money. Capital means like an investment. It may be in the form of machines or in the form of money. Or some capital is the investment in the form of shares. So this is nothing but the capital. So you know there is a capital movement. Some investors not only invest in their home country, but they also, home country means in their own country, they also invest in foreign countries. So that is called as foreign capital. So they invest in other countries. So there is a international trade not only among goods and services, not only the international trade is not only of goods and services between the countries or among the countries, or there is also the movement of capital from one country to another. There is a movement of capital from one country to another. So the international trade and the movement of productive resources such as labor, capital, and technology are substitutes for one and another. So the countries, some countries are rich in labor, some countries are rich in capital, or some country is rich in technology. So they are perfect substitutes. There is a transfer of these things from one country to another. A labor abundant, for example, a country which is rich in labor can send labor to other countries. A country which is rich in capital can send its capital or transfer its capital to other country. In the same way, technology also can be transferred. So they are substitutes. A country can substitute one for other. So this is the international trade of movements of productive resources. It may be labor, capital, and technology. In today's video, we are going to study about capital movement. It may be money, machines, or investment in the form of shares. So the condition of capital scarce countries require them to either import capital intensive goods or procure the desired flow of capital from abroad. So some developing countries are capital scarce. There is a scarcity of capital in those countries. So sometimes they import capital from other countries. So they allow the investors of the other countries to invest in their country. Why? Because in their country there is no capital. They allow the people to invest from other countries where capital is abundant. So that is why in capital scarce countries, they import capital intensive goods. So that is why, so that they can invest. So why there is the movement of capital from one country to another is to adjust the BOP or balance of payment disequilibrium. So usually exports should exceed imports, but in some countries imports are more than the exports. So that is why there is the BOP disequilibrium. So to correct this BOP disequilibrium, the countries the government of the countries, they call the investors from other countries to change the BOP position. So to correct the BOP disequilibrium, or for expanding the production frontier in a country. To expand the production, capital is the must. So for those two purposes, to correct the BOP and to expand the production, this investment is done. So this is about capital. I hope you are all clear with the first slide. So for that reason, there is the movement of capital from one country to another. So this international capital, the international capital movement is not a new thing. It has been carried out since centuries. So there has been mutual exchange between the countries. of capital. So, but the century preceding World War I was the golden age of private investment activity. During that period, Britain, the US, United States, France, and Germany became increasingly industrialized through large-scale foreign investment. So during World War I, the capital investment increased. So during that period, in Britain, United States, France, Germany, etc., it became industrialized country. So now let us see in the next slide. Before moving towards the next slide, I want to correct a thing. So before World War I, these countries became industrialized. Britain, United States, France, etc. They became industrialized country. So that is why now let us, after World War, the capital movements were of course affected. Now let's continue. Okay, now let us see what is the meaning of capital. Okay, you know, capital is a term for financial assets such as funds held in deposit accounts or funds obtained from special financing sources. Capital can also be associated with capital assets of a company. Capital means in a general sense, we can call it as financial assets. It can be an investment in the form of building or money or in the form of machines, buildings or shares, etc. Or a building that also can be a capital. So totally it is a financial asset. So this capital, of course, this business capital, it is focused in business. So it can be called as working capital, equity capital, and debt capital. So this is not important for you in the sense of international business, international economics. So capital assets are assets of a business found on either the current or long-term portion of the balance sheet. So it is capital, of course, arises from the business. So it may be the international business. If people, foreign investor invest in the business in India, of course, the business can be improved. So capital is very much required. It can include cash equivalents, marketable securities. So everything can be included in capital. So capital can boost the international business. Capital flows refers to the movement of money for the purpose of investment, trade, or business operation. So there will be capital flow from one country to another. So there are three purposes. One is investment, trade, or business operation. It can be investment by a country, or it can be a trade between the country, or the business operation. So each and every country try to attract the capital from other countries, especially the developing country. They don't have that much potential of creating capital in their country. So they invite or they ask other countries to invest. They frame the policies so that it can be favorable to the investment. Capital flows occur at nearly every scale, from individuals to firms to national governments. So even the governments, international governments also invest in the other country. So it can be from individual or a firm. So you have seen many business or MNCs like Coca-Cola, so PepsiCo companies have invested in countries like India, and they have a greater market here. In India, periods of fluctuations have been noted beginning in 1990s. Capital flows during the earlier period from 1990s into early 2000 was marked by steady growth. So in India, after 1990s, the capital investment or capital flow started to increase. So after 2000 and 2007, it increased more. And nowadays, under Make in India, government is trying to Make in India program, government is trying to attract more foreign capital. Okay. If we speak about international capital, the depression that caused in 1930s, it it led to the sharp decline of the capital in the international trade. So, depression of 1930s, it of course decreased the international capital movement because there was many tariff trade, so such restrictions were so much. And after during the period of Second World War, also the capital movement was affected. One is during the depression, and another one is during the Second World War. These capital movements have taken place on private account through multinational corporations. So now MNCs invest. In India, most of the companies, they produce their products. Now let us see what is the classification of the capital. So capital, first classification is home and foreign capital. So the investments undertaken by the residents of the home country in foreign countries denote the home capital. So what is home capital? Investments of, for example, a person from India, if he invests in other countries or foreign countries, that is called as home capital, because that capital will come back to India. The residents of the home country, or for example, I'm giving you the example, please try to understand. A person from India, if he goes to person or a firm of India, if he or it goes to invest in other foreign countries, that is called as home capital. On the opposite, the investments undertaken by the foreigners in the home country signify the foreign capital. So, for example, in India, if foreigners invest, so that is called as foreign capital. So, there is a movement of both home and foreign capital. So, in the first case, the movement of capital is from home country we invest in foreign country. In the second case, we get the investment from abroad. In the first case, where our people invest in foreign countries, there is a movement of capital from our country to other. But when foreigners invest, there is a movement of capital from other countries. Government and private capital. This is based on the investment done. If a government of a country invests, or if a foreign country lends or borrow capital, also foreign government, here we are going to be speaking about foreign government. If foreign government invests in our country, so that is called as government capital. On the opposite, if the lending is done by the private people of other country, it is called as private capital. If a government of a foreign country invests in our country, that is called as government capital. On the other hand, if private individual or private individuals or private investors invest, so that is called as private capital. Next is short-term and long-term capital. So this is based on the duration. So if short-term capital, if such credit instruments that have a maturity of less than 1 year. So capital flow is less than 1 year. Investment is done by 1 year. It is less than 1 year. Investment is done. It is less than 1 year. It can take place through currency, demand deposits, commercial papers, etc. So what you have to understand is short-term capital, or this kind of investment is done within 1 year or less than 1 year. So it can, what is the importance? It can bring changes in money supply of a country. For example, in a country, if there is a less money supply, when there is investment or when the short-term capital arises, the short-term money supply also increases. And long-term capital, it is opposite, more than 1 year. If investments are done more than 1 year, it can be take place to the long-term securities, etc. So this long-term capital movement is, of course, it can also be brought from international institutions like IMF and IBR. So this is about short-term, less than 1 year. Long-term capital is more than 1 year. And this capital can flow from international institutions like IMF and IBR. Next is direct capital. So in India, in general sense, we call it as foreign direct investment. So this foreign direct investments is very much important. The developing countries like India are trying to attract the foreign direct investment. So this is very much important. Investors from other countries invest in India. That is foreign direct investment. Directly they invest on shares, buildings or machines, etc. The formation of it can be different form. The formation of a concern in which the foreign investors or foreign companies have a majority share. So for FDI has major form. First form is that where foreign company will have majority share. For example, if a MNC invested there, they will have a major share and Indian company will have less share. For example, if both merge, this foreign company and Indian company, foreign company will have major share. Next is formation of a subsidiary. So they will form a subsidiary or they will form a sister institution in other country. Separate one institution they form in other country. Next is the organization of a firm in the capital importing country that is fully financed by some established concern in the investing country. Third type is that one investment which is fully financed by the foreign country. They only invest management, etc. In under first one, they will have majority share. Indian firm will be the partner with little share. In second type, they will form a subsidiary in other country. Next one is they will fully invest in one country. The creation of fixed assets by the nationals of the investing country in the capital importing country. They invest on shares, etc. or fixed assets. Next, the setting up of an autonomous corporation by investing country for the specific purpose. So they start a separate business or autonomous, their independent corporation without the help of the importing country, without the concern of the importing country. Sorry. These are the 5 forms. First is where they will have a partnership with Indian company where the foreign companies have majority share. Second one is subsidiary. They will start. Third one is fully, they will finance one organization. Third one, next they will fix, it may be in the form of shares. Last one is they may set up the autonomous corporation. Next is last one, portfolio investment. It is done in the form of transferable security, shares, etc. This kind of investment is done through shares. So this foreign investors spend in share markets. So they have only the ownership of the capital. The control and management is in the hands of the importing country or home country. For example, an investor from America invests in the shares of Indian companies. The management is done by the foreign investor. Sorry, the capital investment is done by the foreign investors, but managed by the Indian company. This is the portfolio investment. Investment is done in the form of transferable securities, bonds, etc. So these are the 5 types of capital: portfolio investment, direct capital, short-term and long-term capital, home and foreign capital, government and private capital. I hope you are all clear with this concept of international economics. Thank you.